Welcome to
On Time for Mom Time.
where you are right on time. We are your hosts. I am Brittany Paletz.
And I am Stacy Lopez, and I am so excited for our podcast today. We are talking about National Adoption Month, and who better to talk about that than one of my good friends, Samantha Wallermann. She's joining us today. Tell us your family makeup. You have, 6 kids. I almost said 4. I should know this. I know all your kids, and sometimes you probably forget too. You're like, who do I have? You have 6 kids? Yeah, count them for us.
I have to count. So yes, I have 6 kids. We have 5 boys, 1 girl. We have a 13-year-old boy, a 10-year-old boy, twin boys who are 7, almost 8.
They're almost 8.
They're almost 8. And then we have a 6-year-old boy, and then a 4-year-old girl. No, she's 3.
She's about to be 4.
She's almost 4.
Hey, it's
She's
okay.
almost
we
4.
barely know how old we are
Yeah.
each year that goes
I don't
by.
even count anymore.
Well, we're learning 4, so she's like, Mom, I'm 4 now. I was like, not quite.
Not yet.
But we're getting there. It's
Oh,
what, a month and a half?
Her birthday's next month, and that's Levi's best friend. So we'll be there to celebrate her 4th birthday.
I love that.
Yeah.
But mom of many
6.
children, 6
Yes.
children.
A wide range.
Thank you for being here. Obviously, we understand that you are busy and stretched probably pretty thin at many points of the day.
Even today, you had one sick, so you had to kind of maneuver that to be here for us today.
That's why I called the husband, and he does a great job of filling in those gaps for me. So
And you're here.
Teamwork.
Teamwork.
Obviously, we want to talk to you about your unique family makeup of some of them are biological and some are through the process of adoption.
yes, so the 2 oldest are bio kids, and then we adopted a sibling group of 3, Gabe, Liam, and Isaac. We got them. Isaac was 3 months, and then Gabe and Liam were a year and a half. So that was a big change because we went from 2 to 5.
Yeah, real quick.
That's a lot. Oh,
It was a lot. It was a big change for us. And the whole story of how we got them was just crazy because they were our third placement, actually, technically. And our other placement left, I think, not even a week before that.
Oh, wow.
And then we took all 3 in.
And you obviously didn't just one day say, I'm going to do adoption. I want more kids. This is something that kind of fell in your lap. I know, talking about joining the foster care system and becoming a foster family. What does that look like, and how did that happen for y'all?
Okay, for us, our story is very unique, I feel like, compared to other people. It originally started because we were volunteering at a youth center in
The Alameda neighborhood.
at the Alameda neighborhood with our life group.
Yes.
And we started volunteering, got to know the kids. And one day I got a phone call from one of the sisters of the girl that we actually ended up taking in, saying, hey, my sister needs a safe place. Will you guys take her? And I was like, okay. So we went to the center. By then, other things were involved. The police were involved, and so were CPS. And that was on February 14th of 2018. And then we took her in for almost a year through a kinship. And while she was in our home, the kinship workers oh, you guys can do fostering. And we're like, what? What does that look like? Because we're from Wisconsin and my parents do foster care.
Oh.
So we kind of knew about it, but I was like, Texas is way different than Wisconsin. So we went through, and she's like, oh, I'll give your name to someone and they'll call you. I'm like, oh, okay. So we ended up getting a phone call from an agency in town. They did amazing, by the way. And we started those classes. Our foster at that time, she did them with us. And then she ended up going home, which was great for her. It was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard. I always tell my husband that having her made me grow as a mom because I was not the best mom to her.
How old was she?
When we got her, she was 14, I believe, almost 15.
Yeah.
And like I said, we didn't know much about her. Just because we kind of knew of her, that's how we got her. And what I learned the most with her was to love a kid where they're at, not where you think they're going to be. Because, common things that you're like, oh, you should know this. Some kids don't know that. They never had that.
Mm-hmm.
And they never had a parent sit there and be like, hey, this is how you should be. So she taught me a lot, and she made me grow as a mom, and I'm very, very thankful.
Yeah.
we actually ended up having her a second time.
Oh.
So
You had a second chance, I guess, of doing things
we
a little
did.
differently.
We did, and the second time went way better. We actually added on to our house for her, and she came to live with us for almost like 8 months, 9 months, I think, and then she turned 18. So
And that was it when they I guess, graduate out of the foster care system.
yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Talk to me. There's a lot of mental. I mean, being a mom in general, whether biological or adopted or fostering, is heavy. Talk to me. I guess the weight of balancing, being this maternal figure in their lives and kind of keep going forward.
it's very hard, but one thing you need to have is a great support system and having people step in and help you. And I mean, for us, we were very thankful for a life group. At that time, I was in MOPS, and I had a lot of friends help me because I had no idea what I was doing. Having a teenager, having all these extra kids, like, it was a lot to handle. I'm very thankful for it because we grew. It made me and my husband both grow. I mean, if you know my husband, this is my joke all the time with him, is he wanted 0 kids.
Uh-oh.
When we went through marriage or premarital counseling, he wanted 0 kids, and we ended up with 6. So,
Joke's on him.
but I mean, him as a dad compared to when we first got together, totally different man.
Aw.
And he is phenomenal with our kids, and I'm very blessed to have him because I could not do this all without him because he keeps my sanity for some days.
And so, obviously, the 3 boys, and then Aria, the youngest baby. She's still the baby. You have
They're
went
all
through
my babies.
They're all your
Yes,
babies.
they are.
So you fostered to adopt them. So what does that process look like? Because sometimes you think, oh, it's just adoption. You just put your name out there and you get a kid and you get to adopt them. You foster to adopt through
We
an
did.
agency. So what does that look like? And how long did it take? Legal actions, all the different things that had to take place for them
Depends
to
on your
become a
case.
Wallermann.
Each case is so different.
Mhm.
So when we were doing the classes, we took a little bit of a break after our foster left before we started back. And there's so much that you do not realize that these kids go through. And the stuff that the classes they put you through, they really do help to understand how their mind works and, all the things about making sure that you keep the bond with the bio family. It's not just about your family, it's about all of these different moving parts. So it's a lot to do, but we went through it, and then I remember them coming in to do our home study, and she's like, do you guys want to adopt? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, well, it's only one extra piece of paperwork right now if we do it right now before we license you. I'm like, okay. She's like, if we did it down the road, it would take more. I'm like, okay. I was like, we'll do that one piece of paper. Like, we can do this. We can do this. So when she came in, did the home study, and then I think we were licensed in March of 2019. So I think we started them probably in I want to say November of 2018 when we have our first. So we were just going through it little by little. You can go as fast as you want, as slow as what you want. There's a lot of hours, a lot of Saturdays, putting in the training and stuff. And then we were licensed in March. Our first placement came, I think, April 1st.
Fast.
They were waiting for us
Yes,
to
it was
open
such
our
a-
home.
yes.
To open our home. And we had that placement. It was 2 little kiddos. They were there for April through June.
Okay.
We got a thing on Wednesday saying, hey, they're going to go to their relative, and they were gone by Friday.
Wow.
And then after that, my husband's like, we're done.
We're
We're
done.
not doing this again.
It's a lot.
It's hard.
to
He's
handle,
like,
to make space.
it was really, really hard. I struggled with the first one. He struggled with the 2 little ones because we had a newborn and a 2-year-old.
Wow.
We had a little boy and a little girl. And then he's like, I'm done. I was like, okay. And then he's like, he prayed about it. And he's like, well, no, I think I'm supposed to lay this down. And he's like, whatever God has for us, we're going to open our house again. And Monday I got the phone call, and our 3 boys were in our home by Thursday.
Wow.
And if we wouldn't have taken them in our home, they wouldn't have been all together.
Yeah.
So, and I just remember when they came to drop them off, the worker came in and she's like, are you a license to adopt family? I'm like, yes, we are. So I'm so glad we filled out that paperwork. And I would say if anyone's ever like questioning whether or not to do it, just do it. Because you don't know what the Lord's going to open doors for you when it comes to that. Because we had no idea.
I think that's what's so beautiful is like how organically things seem to have happened for your family and its makeup and your open-mindedness, the conversations of saying yes to things that maybe before these conversations were had, you would have never considered. And I think that's wonderful. You kind of touched upon something I was just about to ask, but about what do you wish people would better understand about adoption? Obviously, part of the process, but some things that maybe you go through day to day or from the beginning to where you are now.
I think the thing I want people to understand is like we fostered and we got to love on babies. Even if they were in our home for a month, sometimes they were in our home longer. But when we got to love on kids to the point where we knew they were going to be ours, it was amazing. And it's hard though, because one day I have to talk to them about all the things that they had to endure beforehand, before they came into our life. And so Gabe, Liam, and Isaac are a sibling group. We got them young, but we do have conversations about what it looks like because they don't look like me and my husband or Cole or Ash. And we have photos. We don't have photos of when they were little. We don't have photos from when they were babies. And I was like, you think of when they become seniors, you go through these senior photos. My kids will never have that.
Yeah.
At least not from us. And I'm like, so I want people to know that, like, even though they may not have those memories with you, they did have them somewhere. And one day, who knows, they might find those people again. We are very open with our kids about their adoption. We did change their names. And that was just a calling that we felt on them. And people are like, why did you do that? And we're like, well, first off, our last name's very, very long. And when they come into our family, we want them to have a name that our family picked for them because there's a reason why they're in our family.
Yeah.
So each one of ours, like I said, we have Gabe, Liam, Isaac, Cole, Ash, and they each have like a biblical name. And that's just kind of how it happened. We didn't choose it. And we have short names for all of our kids. But I wish people knew that it's okay to love these babies because is it hard? Yes. Is there days where I want to cry about it? Yes. If you don't know our story with Aria, she was supposed to go back home. And we were ready to be okay with that. I was at peace. And then all of a sudden, things changed. And that was really, really hard because I grieved for her. I grieved for her bio family because she was supposed to go home. And so everything always kind of happened for a reason. I'm very thankful she's in our family because she adds a lot of little feistiness in our family. If anyone knows my little Aria. But is it hard? Yes. Would I change it? Absolutely not. Because each one of them has grown me as a mom.
Yeah. And I want to ask too, you talk about your adoptive kids, but then you have your two biological kids and they were old enough to know kind of what was going on. So what were those conversations like with them? Asking them, hey, is this okay? I know that's something that you went through is to make sure they were okay with it because it was something big for them too.
Yes. Yeah. We always made decisions as a family. Me and Scott would have our discussion. I was probably a lot more pro doing things. And then once me and him were on the same page, then we would include our kids. So that was always important to us because they had to choose it too. That was them giving up time from mom, dad, loving on another sibling, in their case, 3 at a time sometimes. And that's a lot. And they're still being their own self. Like they still want mom and dad, but then they had to share themselves with 3 kids, in our case, sometimes 1, but sometimes they needed more love from us because of what they went through. Like when we got the twins, like you could tell that the only person they had was each other. So they didn't want hugs. They did not want to come and cuddle. Like that was really hard because like I bond
used to doing that with your biological.
Yes. And and that's one of the things that they teach you is that you should you should do what is it called? Normalism or normalcy. Like normalcy for me is like loving on your kids, like
Nurture,
cuddling and,
yes.
you know, like even now my 13-year-old, he still cuddles with me. Shh, don't
Oh,
tell
I
him.
love
We're not
that.
gonna
We
tell
love
him.
that as boy moms
I
too.
know.
That's
Oh,
important.
he
so.
like the other day he came in and he's like, Mom, I just want to cuddle with you. And I just love
Aw.
that. But our twins are finally doing it and they're almost 8.
Mm-hmm.
They did not do that. And I was like, that just hurts my heart. Like, it's not that their parents didn't love them because deep down I know their parents love them. But there's a lot of stuff that they didn't get. And now, like, we have to try and come back and be like, how do you do that? So, because of that, my bio kids, they do suffer a little bit. They do have to give up. And, you know,
Share time and space.
yeah, they do. And when we had our teenager, I mean, they went through some traumas because of having teenagers in our home.
It's different.
You know, and people are like, how did you do that? Like, why would you do that? And we're like, it doesn't matter what the kid, like, which kid it is. It could be my own kid doing that. And I was like, I'm not going to stop loving a kid just because they might cause that, because we all do it. I was like, I probably caused trauma to my own kids,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know, and people are like, but why? I was like, because that's what we're called to do. We're called to love when some people may not be able to do it. So, I mean, I don't know. We loved it. Our kids, like I said, I remember when we talked to Cole about it, he's our oldest. He's like, one day I'm going to do foster care. And I could definitely see him. He has the heart for
He
it.
does.
If you know him, he does. And like
He's learned that from
Mm-hmm.
well, not for
you
me, but
and
also
the
like
community.
my parents, they've fostered and they adopted what? I think 9 out of foster care
a
back
lot.
home.
Oh.
I'm one of 15. So
Okay, so this was destined. You were raised this way of nurturing.
I think
and-
so. I didn't want to admit it, but because me and Scott only agreed on 2. But yeah, I think there's always plans.
There is always plans. Yeah.
I love that. One thing, and not to give a negative spin, but are there times in the community or with people or strangers before they know you? I mean, are you met with, since you described earlier that your biological kids, you know, do favor you and your husband and the
Mm-hmm.
adopted don't, are there challenges there of whether the kids ask themselves, other people, or does that not even come up? And
I would say, as a naive mom, I was going to say no, it never happened. But I have learned that's not true. So we started doing some stuff with our twins. They went through some testing and stuff, and we found out that one of our boys, he does struggle because he's a different skin color than us. Never thought of it. Never thought a 7-year-old would even think about that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, so being aware of that a lot more is be like making sure that we talk with them and being like,
Mhm.
it's okay to be how you're made. We're all different. I was like, if you even look at me and my husband, like all of our hair is different colors. We all have different color eyes. Like,
yes.
but it's really nice that 4 of our kiddos do kind of look alike. Even Arya looks like the twins
Mhm.
and Isaac, which is really nice that they have that within our own
Wow.
family and stuff. And my family back home, we are a mess of all the different things.
That's what makes it special. And
Yes.
unique. There's no one size of, you know, not
Yes.
everybody is a spitting image of their, you know, parent and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And they go through changes too of who they look like anyways, even if biologically they're.
That's true, because we were just going through pictures and I was like, oh, he kind of looks like me. Nope, he didn't look like me in this one. He looked like Dad. But even like seeing some of the mannerism that our twins and Isaac and all them have, I can be like, they learned that from us.
Oh.
Like, so, you know, as they're living with us and like we're their family forever, like they will start picking up on,
Mhm.
you know, I'm from Wisconsin and some of my kids have my Wisconsin.
accent.
Oh, I love that. Mixed with a little Texas twang,
Yeah.
probably.
Maybe.
Now that they're being raised here.
Yeah. And Adoption Day, you've done it twice. First with the boys, and then Aria. It's a big thing. Obviously, with the boys, it was during COVID, so it wasn't as, you know, not as many people came. And I guess, talk about that. You had to do it over Zoom.
We
Oh.
did have to do it over Zoom. That was the weirdest thing ever. Because it was December 21st of 2020 is
Mhm.
when we finally got to adopt them. And it was very awkward because it didn't feel final. You know what I mean?
Aw.
Like, you didn't get like the big picture. We
Mhm.
have like the picture of us in front of our house and it's adoption day, but it was just kind of
Oh.
lackluster
It
a little
is,
bit. You know,
yeah.
we kind of, it was kind of sad for them because I was like, it was a huge thing. But we know like I think like that year we went on vacation. So that was like our little
You
vacation
made
for
it
it.
Yeah,
special.
you
We
did.
did because like in February is when we went on our little vacation. Once we found out that the dad signed his rights over.
Yeah.
We took them on vacation because we knew that they were gonna be ours.
Yeah. And do the kids ever really have questions about as they're getting older, about their biological parents? I mean, the boys are getting older. Arya obviously isn't at that age yet, but what do you tell them when they ask about their biological parents?
So we're not quite at this stage. We don't hide it.
Yeah.
And so with the boys' parents, biological parents, we never met the mom at all. With the dad, we saw him twice. And he asked us the first time if we would bring the boys the second time because he was willing to sign his rights over. He saw us once. He saw what we did, and he's like, "I want them to adopt my boys." So we took them to say goodbye to him. At that time, he was incarcerated, and we actually kept in touch with him, and we sent him photos of the boys and stuff. But that kind of all changed once he was getting to the point where he was kind of getting out,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't want that as much. So I mean, down the road, the boys will know that they have other relatives.
Mm-hmm.
And other siblings besides just the ones. And even like our little girl, she has other siblings and she knows about them. And we try to foster those relationships the best we can to keep them safe and keep them where
Healthy boundaries.
yes, definitely. And that's where like the one with the bio dad of the boys, it was becoming unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
But we will always be honest with them. I mean, we have their information, but I'm at the point where I'm like, when the boys want to know things, we can't lie to them.
Yeah.
And when they start asking questions, like we have one that's very like when we're talking about babies and all the things, because I have pictures of me with the two older boys, but not them, and they're trying to understand it. And I was like, well, Gabe and Liam, you came from the same stomach. It just wasn't mommy's.
Mm-hmm.
And then one's like, how does that work?
Yeah.
And we had to tell them, and we tell them that their parents loved them. They did. They loved them the best they could. That is different than how I love them. That's different than how you love your kids.
Mm-hmm.
But they still love them.
Yeah.
They still chose to have them,
Yeah.
and they chose a better life for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
How do you, where do you find support for yourself navigating this? I mean, I know the two of you know each other through your mom's organization, the Mom
Yes.
Co. But in general, just finding support because, motherhood, we all need support.
Mhm.
But I feel like there's another layer, being an adopted mom and the support. Where's your community and how do you find the strength?
So I'm gonna be honest. My husband's amazing. Me and him are very much like
A team.
I could not do it without him. He, like I said, he helps with my sanity some days. And the Mom Co really helped. I met a lot of friends. I also, we plugged into like the Foster 325 and the Foster at Beltway, the support group, because I'm gonna be honest, some days it was hard. When we are fighting these battles like in court, like
Legally.
we talked about that, about like how long does it last? Each court case is so different.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thankful to have people behind me that would step up and help. I mean, I had people I work with, they always did that. But also like our agency, they were amazing, especially when we had our teenager and we went through some really hard trials. I went to their office and they just sat there, held me while I cried, got me lunch. Like they were amazing, those women. And I could not have done it without them when they were there.
So
They were.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying they made this journey a lot easier for me and my husband.
So you were never alone on the journey.
No.
And still aren't. You still
Nope.
have these relationships and
We do.
that's wonderful.
Stacy's one of them.
Yes, I was
Am,
going to say
yeah.
Stacey got to be there for the big day.
I
for,
know
guess, for
Aria's
Aria.
adoption. Yeah, the
Yes.
picture that Stephen will pop up
I
is
know.
Aria's adoption.
I was like, that was
was-
almost a year
It was
ago.
a year ago.
It's like such a room full of love and,
Yeah.
so many people there celebrating this new chapter for your family.
Miss Aria Grace.
I know. I absolutely loved it. And our judge there, I remember like when you're there, they always say, "Oh,
Mhm.
like why do you want to keep them?" Or like what is your reasoning? And I remember like Scott did his whole little spiel, and I was like, I don't need you to say what he said. I was like, I'm going to tell you why our kids want to keep her.
Yeah.
And I went through it, and I think everyone's eyes were tearing
We all
up
cried.
I'm sure.
because it was, and the judge was like, I've never had someone do that. I'm like, but it wasn't just our choice, it was our
Mhm.
kids' choice too. And I mean, some of their stuff was so funny. It's like, because she likes yellow and pink, but it's like what they loved about her and what she brought to our family. And I'm like, you can't replace that. I still have that somewhere, I bet. But I was
love
like,
that.
you just can't replace what these kids put in your life, even if
Mhm.
they are there just for a little while. Um, each one of the kids that we have had in our home have a special place in our heart, and I am definitely 100% a better mom because of them.
No doubt.
And they put me in my place sometimes, and I'm
They
very
let kids do
Kids
that.
do
and
to
I'm
us.
very thankful for that because I was like, sometimes we're like, oh, we know all this stuff, and then you have this kid that comes in and was like, nope, and they will show you what you're lacking, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm very thankful for it, even though it was really, really hard.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, we are thankful for you and for sharing and being so open about, again, the organicness of your journey and
Mhm.
sharing your beautiful family and the journey that you're still on. So thank you for being a face of
appreciate it.
fostering to adopt.
It is
Thank you.
National Adoption Month. That's why,
It's a great
we want to
time.
bring awareness to this. It's National Adoption Month. And
I know Ari was on the day, I think.
I think
last
National
year.
Adoption Day is when her
Oh,
adoption
how
was done.
fitting.
I know.
I
Love
think
that.
that's how it worked out. Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Well, thank you again for joining us. And we've really enjoyed our conversation with you. And we want to thank you, of course, for watching On Time for Mom Time. Next week, we have a special guest featuring a military mom in our community, which there are many.
Many.
And so it'll be nice to hear a little bit about what she's been through and going through and the support she finds here
Yes.
in our community.
All right.
Yes.
That's
Thanks
gonna
for
take-
watching.
Thank you. See you then.
See you next time.